Tara coming to you from thecraftsurgeons.com. Thanks for joining me today for another video tutorial, and today I have a gorgeous card for you guys. I hope you like it. Oh my gosh, these Butterfly Beauty Thinlet dies are amazing. I am in love because one, they're butterflies, and two, they're so versatile. So I have actually created another card using these dies, which I'll have linked, if I remember, somewhere on the screen or down below in the description box. But in that video, I was showcasing how I created a card using the really pretty Butterfly Thinlet dies with just the background die. And actually, let me show it to you. Hi guys, it's your girl Tara coming to you from thecraftsurgeons.com. Thanks for joining me today for another video tutorial. And today I wanted to share with you a gorgeous card using my favorite dies out of the 2019 Occasions catalog. And they are called the Butterfly Beauty Thinlet dies. This is the second project that I've created with these dies because I love them. The first project I created actually used one of the big image dies, specifically the one with the background, and here's the project. I used a watercolor wash background, did a little bit of heat embossing, but on this card, the focal point was the butterflies with the big background. Now, the cool thing about this video is that I'm going to show you how I created another card that shows you the variety in those dies. And that's because there's another big die that came with it that is considered a layering die. So you layer it on top, which is how I got the effect that you see here. Now, keep in mind, before we get into this video and I start explaining exactly what you're going to need, I do want to let you know that there are a couple of products on this card that are retired, unfortunately. So a few days ago, Celebration ended, and I have a lot of the Botanical Butterfly Designer Series paper, which I'm hoping it comes back. It probably won't, though. That's wishful thinking. But there was some awesome black and white paper that was in Celebration that I got for free, along with a free stamp set, which was my favorite, which was Home to Roost. And there was this really pretty sentiment in there, which is what I used on this card. But the good news about this is that with this card, you can use whatever you have in your stash. All right, starting out with this card, I used a piece of basic black cardstock. This measures 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches and it's scored at 4.25 inches. I used a piece of the Botanical Butterfly Designer Series paper, which once again is retired. However, you can use whatever you have in your stash. This measures 4.25 inches by 5.5 inches, so it's the same size as the card front, which is really cool. The next thing I used on this card was a piece of basic black and a piece of whisper white, and there's no specific measurements to this. It just needs to be big enough for you to fit your dies on, which I'm going to show you how I ran these through my Big Shot, okay? All right. The next thing that I used on this card were a few inks, and I love the color combo. So here are the inks that I used. I think they scream spring. I love them. These coordinate very well together, by the way. We have Coastal Cabana, Bermuda Bay, Pineapple Punch, which is one of our end colors. We have Mango Melody, Gorgeous Grape, and Highland Heather. So these all of these colors, except for the Pineapple Punch, come from our Brights collection of inks. However, you can use whatever colors you have in your stash. I also used Memento Tuxedo Black ink for my sentiment. And speaking of the sentiment, since this sentiment is retired, I am going to be using a different sentiment for this card because I wanted to change it up a little bit. So I am going to be using the You Are Amazing out of the Amazing Life stamp set. So I think this will be this will look really pretty on this card. Some other things that I used on this card as well is I embellished it with a little bit of our Coastal Cabana, or excuse me, Bermuda Bay mini striped ribbon. As you can see here, there's some really gorgeous ribbon here. And then I also used some rhinestones, which I don't see them on my table right now. But that's okay, I'll find them in a minute. All right, so the next thing I can't forget is the Butterfly Beauty Thinlet dies. Aren't they gorgeous? You get a total of 20, and then there are duplicates in here so you can mass produce butterflies, which is really awesome. And for this particular card, we're going to use the big image, as you can see here. This one is the full image of the butterfly, which will serve the purpose of our background. And then we're going to use this little guy here, which is the actual piece that layers on top. And I'm going to show you a trick of how I layer these together without fuss, okay? So with that being said, I do want to tell you guys that I am going to be using some of our multi-purpose adhesive sheets in order to create a sticker for the background of the detailed top layer of this, so that way it makes it easier for me to stick it to. You can also use a sponge and your glue and your silicone mat, but sometimes that can get a little messy. But for this video, I'm going to try to create it with these stickers, okay? All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I created the sticker background for the butterflies, okay? So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to take your we're going to take our cardstock and we are going to match up our adhesive sheet up to it, and we're going to cut it to size, just like this. You see that? Okay. And we're going to do that for both pieces. We're going to do that for the Whisper White and the Basic Black. And I like to do it a little bit shorter than the actual card stock itself, because when I measure this out, it's going to be slightly bigger than the actual die too, so I don't have to worry about a lot of excess. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to pull up the back carefully of the sticker sheet. And then I'm going to place this little guy like right on top. Just like that. So then it's going to look kind of like that. See? I'm going to do the same with the Whisper White piece. All right, so now we're going to run our dies through the Big Shot. So basically what I'm using for this this card is I'm using my precision plate. The precision plate actually gives me a better grasp on cutting out my butterfly Thinlet dies, because I've been having a little trouble using my regular die, or excuse me, the regular platform and my magnetic platform by itself to really get into those detailed pieces. So because this is a detailed die, the precision plate is great for this, to get all those little nooks and crannies. So the first piece that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Basic Black and I'm going to place the outline butterfly on top, and then I'm going to just roll this little guy through. All right, and then I'm going to do the same with the white piece as well. So I'm going to line my die up just like this. And I'm going to roll it through a couple of times. All right, so I have a little paper pumpkin box that I've recycled. And what I like to do is I like to keep my little foam mat and my die brush in here. And that's where all of my pieces go. So that way I don't have a huge mess to clean up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel this off. And get my black one as well. I'm trying to keep the pieces that have the sticker on them, because it looks like the sticker's trying to come off too. So you just want to be careful as you're doing this part. There we go. So now I'm rolling my die brush over to release all those little pieces that need to be released. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the same with the white. Just going to roll our dye brush over it and poke all of those little pieces that don't come out. All right, so now we have both of our outline and our background piece attached to the multi-purpose adhesive sheets. So before we begin just attaching our top layer to the bottom layer, we're gonna go ahead and do our sponging. So I'm gonna take a piece of scrap paper, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with all of my lighter colors first, and then I'm gonna go in behind those with my darker colors. So what I did was I took one of our sponges. So what I like to do is one of our sponges comes in a circle, and you get a pack of 3. And so what I like to do to get more out of my pack is I like to cut them in 4s. So they're like little pie pieces, as you can see here. And then I take a coordinating piece of cardstock and I attach it to the color that I sponged with, so that way I know and I'm not really mixing and matching sponge colors. So the first thing we're going to start off with is our Highland Heather. And all I did was I just tapped the sponge into the ink pad like so. And then I just took my sponge and I just went over and sponged the outside of the butterfly, just like that. So we're starting from the bottom, and then we're going to close that little guy up, and then we're going to take our Coastal Cabana, and it's going to be the same process. And once we're done with Coastal Cabana, we're going to do Pineapple Punch. Alright, so now that we are done with our lighter colors, we're going to go in with the darker colors, and we're just going to color, like for example, on the bottom butterflies, we're going to color in Gorgeous Grape, just at the bottoms of the wings. For the Coastal Cabana butterfly, we're going to do that in Bermuda Bay. And then we're going to do the tops of the wings in Mango Melody for over the Pineapple Punch. All right, so there we have our ombre butterfly. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, so now I'm going to go through and I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm going to cut off all of the antenna. All right, so let's set this to the side, and now we're going to go ahead and begin assembling our card. So I'm going to take my card base, my bone folder, fold that in half, like so. I'm going to take my Tombow liquid glue, and we're going to apply our mats. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the pilling off, or the backing of our adhesive sheet off. All right, so now we're going to take this, and like a sticker, we're just going to stick it where we want onto our card. Isn't that pretty? And that's like literally no mess, unlike the glue. All right, so now we're going to take off our backing for our layer butterfly, our top layer. And once again, you want to be careful when you're peeling off the backings of this, because this top piece is more delicate than the bottom piece. And then what we're going to do is we're going to line these little guys up. There we go. How gorgeous is that? Oh my gosh. All right, so now we are going to take a piece of Whisper White. Okay, so let's go ahead and ink this up, and we're going to stamp this little guy down just like that. There we go. Perfect. Set it to the side. And then I'm going to take this little guy and I'm going to kind of like measure it out. And I'm going to cut the ends at a slant. Just like that. All right, so now we're going to take our ribbon. And it's going to be the same concept. I'm going to try to measure it past the sentiment. And then we're going to angle it. I'm going to flip this little guy over like this. And then I'm going to take a little bit of snail. And I'm going to roll a thin line. A snail right here at the bottom. And then we're going to stick the little guy right to our ribbon. Just like that. And then we're going to flip this little guy over again, and we're going to take our dimensionals. I'm going to take about 3, 4. And we'll place them on the back. And we're going to stick this straight to our card. All right, so now it's time for us to embellish our card with some rhinestones. So we have our basic jewel rhinestones, and I'm going to put about 3 of these on here because everything is more flattering in odd numbers. All right, so here are our beautiful cards. And like I said, even though I'm using some retired items on this card, you can use whatever you have in your stash and it still will look amazing. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, be sure to give me a thumbs up. You can find all of the information pertaining to all the supplies I use down in the description box below. The links there will take you straight over to my online store where you can place a purchase for those items and have a look around in my online store as well. And once again, thank you for your support in my business. Also, in order to stay up to date on all things Stampin' Up! And receive notifications of all of my recent uploads, be sure to subscribe to my channel and make sure you hit that little bell on the side to get those notifications to pop up. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys for now. So see you next time. Thanks for watching and happy stamping.